Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Fun Astrology video weekly update here for the week of coming up next weekend, the eclipse. This is the week of the 24th, but the big focus is this coming weekend because two big, huge things happen in the sky. First of all, on Saturday, the solar eclipse that will not be visible in most of the United States because it'll still be dark, but it's at early morning hours, pre-dawn hours on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Neptune finally completes its passage through Pisces, not for good, but enough. We start to focus on Neptune in Aries energy beginning next Sunday. Let's take a look at this chart real quick, and this episode is going to be a little bit abbreviated because I'm in moving boxes, but we need to talk about this because here is this favorable energy. It's called a kite pattern, and I wanted to show you the planets that are involved. This is how we begin the week. We start the week with the moon in Capricorn, which it is moving toward Pluto. Liz Grace is going to talk about that with us on Tuesday because that's about the timing there. But look at this kite. This is the most favorable aspect in astrology. And you always look up here at the top. And broadly, we have just a lot of energy at the top of this kite. Saturn, the North Node, Neptune, Venus in retrograde, the Sun, and Mercury in retrograde. Wow, this is the entire shift from Pisces to Aries represented at the top of this kite. And this is the most favorable aspect in astrology. So we have to think and look at what's on the opposite side. The offset side is the South Node of the moon. So what this is saying is you get chills with this. It is moving all of our karma to this new beginning. You see that? The South Node, all this stuff, all the baggage, all I was going to say the tail of the dragon, but you could take it one step further. All of that energy is moving into this new beginning. And here's the other thing that I love about this is for the last 12 years, we've been growing spiritually in Pisces. And now it's time to start adulting in Aries. So our spiritual growth, as we've been working through, in fact, my own discoveries happened at the end of Aquarius and into Pisces energy. And this podcast was launched under Pisces energy 12 years ago, the first one, Subconscious Mind Mastery. It's just amazing energy here. And you can see very clearly that all of this stuff from the past, it is like the universe is saying, game on. I said in Monday's audio podcast, there's no parent in this country or in this world worth their salt, that when their kids finally go off to school and the parents are waving goodbye, that they don't have a tear in their eye. That happened for me years ago, and I still feel the emotion of it. And that's what we're feeling now is we're leaving Pisces. We're leaving all this wonderful growth energy, and we're moving into the incredible energy of let's get it done. Let's launch. And, with that, we need some tools to take along the way. And I just wanted to tap into Tracy Arnold again. She was so great on the previous episode, and I wanted to have her back and she has some ideas for some of these tools that we can implement to carry this journey forward into Aries.
Hello, Thomas and Fun Astrology Podcast friends. Now that the sun has moved from dreamy, go with the flow Pisces into I am activated Aries, how are you feeling? The theme of Aries is all about who am I and do I have the courage to be my true authentic self out in the world? Supporting that energy, we have Mercury and Venus retrograde in Aries, asking us to pause and go within, do some soul searching, and take a deeper look at that concept, asking, who am I beyond the conditioned mindset? Because we don't always pay attention to our likes and dislikes. We get in the habit of what we've picked up along the way on this life journey, and we don't question it until we get a nudge. And this is a friendly nudge. So we're going to grab onto it before the nudge gets into a push. So we have the sun is going to be talking to Pluto, who's over in Aquarius and causing some chaos. So Aquarius can be either on one end of the spectrum of humanitarian or the other end of the spectrum saying, you're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. Or somewhere in the middle where we've been seeing this of, if you just all get on the same page as me and march to my beat, we're all going to be happy. Maybe that works for you. I don't know. But these are the dynamics that we're working with. And this is what we're being asked to look at. Go within, do the soul searching and ask, who am I? And, what really resonates with me? And who do I want to be moving forward? Because Aries is giving me the courage to have different conversations now, to talk about the things that I really love and enjoy, whether it be astrology, whether it be, anything in the metaphysical realm, because we've been hanging out in Pisces energy that brought us into that focus, into a spiritual focus, metaphysical focus, you name it, whatever your experience is, that's where you're focusing. So if we do this before we get to the new moon in Aries at the end of the week with that partial solar eclipse, we will be in a better place of flowing with whatever emotions come up, because those new moon emotions are going to be more front and center. And our emotions are the conversation between our soul and our mind. And it's telling us where we're out of balance. So if we're feeling anxiety, unsettled, unhappy, the list goes on, that's telling us we need to pay attention. We need to go deeper within ourselves and figure out who our authentic self is and how we can shift and use this courageous Aries energy to get to where we want to go. Because if we get to that new moon with all this already all figured out, or, have a good idea, we can plant seeds of intention to work with that energy to grow into that more authentic version of ourselves, that true self. And we can have those conversations with other people that may end up surprising you, because they're in the same energy. And whether they're consciously aware of it or not, they may be having different thoughts, but they're not putting them out there because nobody else is. And when you open that door, you're allowing them to say, wow, I've been having these thoughts. What do you think about that? So you might be very surprised at the conversations you can have. And intuitively, that is just resonating throughout me, that this is really what this time is all about. Because once we get past that new moon, we're going to be having shifting back and forth. We're going to have more Pisces energy. And then everything is, we're going to have Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries and really activating us and saying, who are you? And are you being courageous? Are you using all these energies that we're offering you to be you? So think about it. What tools do you have in your toolbox to help you? For me, I recommend, obviously, I love meditation. It's what helped me get into this really strong intuitive flow state at any time that I want. It took practice. So it's not just going to serve you during this time right now. It's going to serve you in the long run. We had that great March funness, high vibe energy for Pisces season. And you can still go back into it and you can still listen to it and get into that high vibe to help you over this hurdle. And we have other kinds of meditations too, where we can visualize ourselves in the future being that true authentic self and seeing ourselves being happier and being more in flow and having things flow with more grace and ease. So that would be a quantum leap meditation. Thomas has one of those. You can also run into having fear, and you can say, yeah, it's great. Aries has given me courage to, overcome my fears, but, it takes more than courage. I need some other tools. There's a book for that, Fear Busters by Thomas. So he's sharing his toolbox with us. Another tool that I use, and I would imagine many of you do too, is the natal chart. Going back to my natal chart or sitting with a client or a friend who's sitting there saying, hey, these energies are unsettling. So we take the natal chart and we put this collective energy chart on top of theirs, with theirs, and look at it and see where the challenges are coming in. And we reframe the challenges into opportunities, because we collectively have the North Node in Pisces saying, hey, who do you want to be moving forward? You have the opportunity to change a karmic cycle, maybe even break a karmic cycle, and you're going to flow with more ease when you shift that karmic cycle that we are collectively in, as well as looking at, well, how is that affecting my personal karmic cycle? Everything talks to each other. It doesn't go away. It doesn't change. It's still there. We do have transits to our own natal chart that you can also look at. And, you're so many layers. It depends on where you are at on your astrology journey. But that's another tool to consider. And what else can you do? Anything that you've figured out while you were in Pisces season, if you took a dive into the metaphysical realm and you got into using crystals, you can use those. You can use healing energy modalities like Reiki to help you flow through this time. And when you get past this new moon and we have more of a pileup in Aries, you're going to be that much more capable of flowing with that bigger activation of energy. So you do you. Figure out what works for you. Look at it as an adventure of finding the tools that work for you and building up your toolbox. The more tools you have, the better it will be for you. So enjoy the journey. Namaste.
And thank you, Tracy, for some excellent thoughts and comments. And we'll look forward to having Tracy back on future episodes. And we have, I've got a surprise for you. And you'll have to listen to Monday's episode to hear and find out what that is. It will be here on the YouTube channel and it will be on the audio podcasts as well. But we are going and growing and expanding in light of what you're seeing in this chart. And I'm excited to tell you about that on Monday. And Tracy, I think, will be a part of it as well. So before we talk about this ourselves for just a minute, I wanted to let you know that Robert Glasscock and I on the new Old Soul, New Soul Astrology podcast channel, new YouTube channel, talk about this as well. So you can check that out on one of the recently released videos there. And he's very positive about this. And let's go into why. And it's basically the kite that we talked about before. It's kind of still there. This leg broke down. This Pluto leg went away. But here was one of the other points from that, is we have a favorable connection to Uranus. Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus in Taurus has not been the happiest Uranus there is out there. And it's getting ready to obviously leave, as you can tell, 24 degrees. It happens later this year. But it's in favorable aspects. In fact, if there was another kite, here's the top of it right there, all connecting Uranus to Mars, Saturn, the North Node, Venus, Neptune, the whole gang, the whole Pisces gang. So when you think about Uranus as kind of a even higher octave, I know it's talked about as a higher octave of Mercury and various things, but it also rules astrology. And I'll tell you that what this is symbolizing with this eclipse, which is the start of an 18-and-a-half-year cycle, we've been talking about that too, spiritual insight and perception and intuition around our astrological practice. So those of you who are interested in this, not only stepping up your game individually as students of astrology, but if you're doing readings for people, focus a little bit less on the technicalities and more on the spirituality of what's coming up with this. But all the other aspects, as we talked about with the kite, are favorable for this upcoming eclipse. We're going to be covering it all well. The girls are taking a last lap, and that's part of Monday's announcement and what we're going to be doing from here. So be sure to check out the audio podcasts. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get back to this pile over here, which is a very Aries action-oriented thing. So while I do that, I will leave you in very good hands for the week, and I'll see you back next week. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, everybody. Sending love.